Vampires have been a staple in popular culture since the days of Bram Stoker and his classically world-famous novel, Dracula. Even before this, vampires have been a part of the folklore of many cultures, sensual, beautiful, and full of rage-fueled passion that comes with involuntary immortality. They personify the fragility of life, taking advantage of everything that makes humans weak: love, lust, and fear. It's no surprise that depictions of vampires in the media are all hauntingly beautiful and mysterious, stealing the hearts of mortals and fellow vampires. There have been several BL series and movies that depict these very dynamics. Kissable Lips is a Korean BL drama series that premiered in 2022. It follows a vampire dying as a result of breaking the code against killing humans. The only way to cure himself is to drink pure blood from a human in love. After meeting a human who constantly rebels from his family's watchful eye, they fall in love, but the thought of each other's mortality hovers over their heads. Despite the captivating plot on paper, audiences did not love how the series was executed, blaming the convoluted plot lines with the addition of vampires calling for high expectations. Kissable Lips did not seem to meet them. My Golden Blood is a Thai vampire BL series that premiered this year. It follows a young human man with blood that is irresistible to vampires. When he works as a waiter for an event unknowingly run by vampires, a small cut causes chaos for the bloodthirsty guests. When the organizer of the event falls for him, he must protect him from the other thirsty vampires, and stop himself from feeding on him as well. While the series is not an overall fan favorite, many people praised it for the unique take on a genre that can sometimes be repetitive. Oh my god, Vampire is another Thai BL series that premiered fairly recently. This series follows a group of vampires that awake from a centuries-long sleep in the land of vampires. However, they are disappointed to learn that Gen X vampires are no longer allowed to fall in love. Not accepting this, the young vampires come together to go to the land of humans. However, life with humans is harder than expected, until one of the vampires meets a human he likes. Viewers have cited that the series is over the top and funny, but it makes for a very entertaining viewing experience. It is not as dark and moody as other vampire series, so it is an easy and enjoyable watch within the popular Thai BL universe. 1000 Years Old is another recent Thai BL series that premiered a vampire love story to fans. It depicts a lonely vampire, living modestly with his cat, who falls in love with a student set on finding UFOs and other mystical beings. Their love story is short and sweet, with an innocent human breathing life back into the world of a lonely, immortal vampire. Fans were quick to judge the series, noting issues with the plot and how the story did not keep them invested. However, there were just as many who thoroughly enjoyed it. With the influx of vampire BLs coming out of Thailand now, it will take a lot to set one series apart from the rest. With the rise of vampire plotlines within BL, as well as the popularity of the genre as a whole, audiences are eager for a fresh take on vampire romance that satisfies their craving for romance, fantasy, and drama. Cool fans are hungering even more for a dramatic vampire story, as there are already less overall GL series and films than BL. It is not surprising that there hasn't been a vampire-based GL love story yet made, except for the little-known Thai miniseries Taste of Her. This series follows a 20-year-old girl, whose blood is to be used during a full moon ritual that can give others vampire powers. However, the series only ran for 4 episodes, and is not well known to many GL viewers. Interestingly, early Hollywood vampire films featured lesbian storylines in order to demonize women who preyed on other women. However, they were not taken that way in the gay community, becoming staples of early Hollywood gay cinema. Following that were several lesbian vampire films, typically using the vampire trope to show lesbian relations without violating the censorship codes. Since then, lesbian media has become much more prevalent, with more and more titles sharing lesbian love stories, including some vampire series. The 1936 film Dracula's Daughter followed the release of the first Dracula film, but the plot did not follow the original book. It follows Dracula's daughter, who believes destroying his body will break her of her vampirism. However, she is unable to curb her cravings, and continues on his killing spree. The film is being heralded as being one of the first to showcase a lesbian undertone. It paved the way for the flurry of vampire lesbian films used to skirt around the censorship laws that would have never allowed such a storyline. Outside of the fantastical world of vampires, the 1970 film The Vampire Lovers is one of the more sexually overt lesbian films to come from the vampire genre. It follows a seductive vampire who preys upon the beautiful women who entrust her into their circle. After multiple women start to fall ill with mysterious puncture wounds on their breasts, she begins to be suspected by the vampire hunters searching the area. The film has become a classic lesbian film, as the overt sexual nature between the women was able to be pushed farther due to the vampire trope that they prey on beautiful women using lust. The smash hit 2008 vampire series True Blood continued this trope, no longer needing to hide behind the vampire theme to show lesbianism. The characters were more outward about their sexual preferences. There are several vampire characters who are bisexual, using their immortal beauty and experience to lure in both lovers and victims. The lesbian storylines in this series shows how lesbian vampires have begun to shift from a trope to a real romantic part of the plot. In 2022, Netflix premiered the series First Kill, based on a short story. It follows the complicated love story between a vampire and vampire hunter. The lesbian love story is a main plot point, which is a change from the previous vampire films. It is a vampire world centering around a love story, not the other way around. When the show was cancelled after just its first season, fans were in an uproar. They tried to call on Netflix to renew and make petitions for a second season. This reaction, despite the cancellation, showed that there was a strong desire for more LGBTQ+ shows and lead characters. This list shows the obvious new trend in vampire BL series, an obvious lack of lesbian romantic storylines, let alone vampiric lesbian love. It is evident that there is a desire for more GL series, allowing LGBTQ+ viewers to get lost in a fantasy world that they rarely get to see on screen. Would you like to see a GL vampire story? Comment down below your thoughts.